On October 8th, 1871, Peshtigo, Wisconsin, was largely destroyed in about an hour. Not damaged, not scorched around the edges. Destroyed! And on that same night, Chicago was burning too. That coincidence is what makes this story so hard to hold in your head. The Peshtigo Fire killed somewhere between 1,200 and 2,500 people, making it widely regarded as the deadliest wildfire in United States history. Chicago became a national symbol, while Peshtigo slipped from the national story. Before the flames arrived, the landscape had been prepared to carry them. Peshtigo was a logging town, so the land around it was packed with things that could burn quickly: dry forest, sawmill waste, brush, and piles of branches left behind after land clearing. A prolonged drought had dried those fuels. Then the wind strengthened. Under those conditions, multiple smaller fires could merge, spreading across the ground and through all that leftover material. The ingredients were now aligned. Fire needs more than a spark. It needs fuel, oxygen, and enough heat to keep going. Peshtigo had all three in abundance. The wind pushed the flames through the region, and as the fire grew hotter, that heat pulled in more air. The fire was no longer just reacting to the weather, it was starting to shape the air around itself. That is a firestorm, a blaze so intense that it creates its own wind system, increasing oxygen intake and accelerating spread. That's a much bigger problem than the fire got out of control. The first thing the fire took was time. By the time the flames reached Peshtigo, there was almost no time to organize a response. The town was consumed in roughly 1 to 2 hours, depending on which part of the destruction you're measuring. In the aftermath, only 1 or 2 buildings were left standing. The fire moved so quickly that many people had little chance to escape, and the surviving records cannot tell us how everyone was lost. That's the part I keep coming back to. In 1871, there was no modern emergency alert system, no satellite view, no radio announcement telling people which road was open. Night had arrived, the wind was shifting, fires were appearing in several places at once, and the people trying to escape had to make decisions with almost no information. And the fire did not stop at the town line. Across the larger region, 16 towns were burned, with the fire spreading through northeastern Wisconsin and into Michigan as part of a wider outbreak that lasted several days. If you're driving, don't look it up now. Later, when you're somewhere safe, compare Peshtigo and Chicago on a map. The map gives you the scale, but the timing is the truly cruel part. The records that survived are why one name matters here. Reverend Peter Pernin survived the fire and later published an account of what he had seen. His testimony became one of the important early records of the disaster because so much else was gone. Homes were gone, businesses were gone, local documents were gone. People who might have appeared in a town register or been identified through family records were simply missing. Names and stories vanished with the paperwork. That's why the death toll can't be pinned to one clean number. Some estimates put it around 1,200. Others reach 2,500, depending on whether they include people from nearby farms, logging camps, and communities outside Peshtigo itself. About 800 deaths were attributed to the village alone. The missing names are part of the number. The uncertainty doesn't mean the event was exaggerated. It shows how completely the fire disrupted the systems that would normally tell us who had been there. The fire did not erase every memory. People mourned, wrote about it, and preserved accounts, but the official trail was damaged at the same time as the town. Chicago had the advantage of being Chicago. It was larger and better connected to national coverage, so its destruction became a story that could travel. A major city burns, people respond, and the city rebuilds. Peshtigo's tragedy unfolded across scattered rural communities during a night when communication was already difficult. Then the fire destroyed many of the records that might have shown people far away what had happened. History, apparently, also has terrible timing. The fire was bigger than one town. Peshtigo was part of a regional outbreak driven by drought, wind, human land clearing practices, and a landscape loaded with dry fuel. That doesn't turn the event into a simple morality tale about one bad decision. It shows how ordinary conditions can combine into something extraordinary and lethal. That lesson travels beyond 1871. Modern wildfire disasters can also emerge from an accumulation of dry vegetation, wind, exposed communities, limited warning time, and infrastructure that was never designed for the conditions arriving at its door. The fire killed people, destroyed a town, and damaged the evidence that could tell us exactly who was lost. We may never know the exact number, but each estimate represents real people whose names and stories were lost when the records burned.